Hey everybody, it's Marcel here. Wanted to talk a little bit about experience I had a few days ago. So I'm slithering along, doing my normal thing, and I head into the bathroom at my college. And standing before me is a bunch of young girls. We're talking mid-teens. And I am so shocked by what I'm seeing that I jump back out the door and check that I'd actually gone into the right restroom. And I had. And I kind of cautiously walk back in. Sure enough, the male restroom had been invaded by girls. And they were all joking and laughing in front of the mirror, giggling, and I think I heard one of them say something about being in the men's bathroom, so it was pretty much a joke to them. But they were doing their makeup, and right as I came in, they started making their way out. And as I went to go use the restroom, another guy came out of his stall. And I looked at him and I said, did they know why they came in here? And he said, yeah, they were joking about it when they walked in and as they were leaving. So I asked him what would happen if I went into their bathroom in the same way. And he says, well, you'd get the shit kicked out of you. And I believe that that would be the case. But I'm not here to whinge about them having the right to walk into our bathroom and us not having the right to walk into theirs, because frankly, I don't have any interest in walking into a women's restroom. I have no want or desire to do so. I have a more serious concern with this. See, when it comes to opening up both restrooms to the two genders, I understand the automatic concern that a guy will go put on a dress and walk into the women's restroom to go checking out the people in there. And that concern is warranted, but has anyone stopped to realize the other problem, which is that they're not going to need to? The perverts will not have to do that, because soon enough, young girls are going to be walking into the men's restroom because they're being taught that they should have a right to do so. At least that appears to be the case. Now, here is my main concern with all of this. When a guy's going to the bathroom, if a girl's in there and she looks over and sees something that she doesn't want to see and reports it, who goes to jail? Because she's in the male restroom, and he didn't give any consent to her being in there. He doesn't have a right to. She walked in on her own accord. She violated his space, and I have a gut feeling that nobody's going to care about that. They're going to see young woman sees adult male penis, and they're going to accuse the guy and call him a pervert when she walked into the male restroom. So is this going to be a circumstance where if they walk into a male restroom and they see or hear or even smell something that they don't like, is it a thing that they can sue us for? With as sensitive as society's getting? Because I don't want to be sitting on the pot and get scared shitless because some girl walks in and looks over at me. Or is this going to be a circumstance when they're on no man's land where it's fair game? Where if they walk in there, they're completely on their own. Because if that's the case, I mean, these perverts would have an open, free realm to do whatever they want without consequence. Then there's nothing we can do to stop it. There's no way to protect the children. This is a lose-lose either way. Where, on the one hand, if we can't do anything to protect them, then our young children, our daughters, are going to be exposed to this kind of crap where, guys can bust out in front of them. And on the flip side, if they can do something about it, then, what the fuck? They can walk in and see something they're not intended to see and then turn around and charge an innocent guy for it? This is bad. This can go very bad. And, I mean, the predator going into the girl's bathroom is, it's a serious problem. I can see why there'd be concern of that. But this can get a lot worse if it's not managed. So the other flip side of this is people that are, genuinely transitioning from one gender to the other. They're either in between or they've made it to the other side. All right, fine. Some people are not born for what they feel is the right gender. Without going into depth as to whether or not I agree or disagree with that concept, let me look at this from a different perspective. You take, for example, people with therapy dogs. Now, I know this is a completely different situation, but humor me. So, when someone has a therapy dog, they can typically bring the dog anywhere they want. They can go into restaurants, stores that serve or sell food, all sorts of different places where, medically or hygienically, you really shouldn't have a dog there for whatever reason. And I can't say the number of times that I've gone into like Walmart, for example, and I've seen a person holding their dog there, and the dog whines, so they put it down on the ground, and the dog walks over, throws up a leg, and takes a piss on a cereal box, middle of the store. The person owning the dog picks it back up, throws it in the cart, and walks away, never says a word to anyone. I've seen this a number of times. It happens a lot. And they really don't give a shit. But there's a middle ground for that, a silver lining to the dark cloud, if you will, that if a store owner or an associate walks up to them, I believe they have a right to ask to see paperwork proving that person actually has a therapy dog. It doesn't completely take away the discomfort for that person that buys the cereal box, but at least it's a middle ground. A compromise, if you will. There's at least a way to manage it, to separate those who are faking and those who have a genuine medical concern, whether you agree that it's legitimate or not. Some of them are even required to put little vests on them saying that they're like a therapy animal. Now, I'm not suggesting that a person who's transitioning should have to wear like a road guard vest into the bathroom, but the thought did make me laugh. More like that if a person is genuinely transitioning, that they should have a doctor's note with them, showing that that's their intent, and they're not one of these transgenders making their way from one bathroom to the other whenever they feel like it. And that would solve the problem of, people feeling comfortable in their gender because they'd be going in the correct bathroom. They would have their paperwork with them where people could just say, hey, do you got your papers? And we could feel a little more comfortable that we're not having random people in the wrong gender's bathroom. Then that should alleviate this whole children being allowed to walk into the wrong gender's bathroom just because they feel like it. It won't be a joke. We can make it more of a legitimate medical transition as opposed to a fad. So I'm going to try and look at this from all perspectives and point out why I believe it's a good idea. The whole idea of a doctor's note being required to walk into the wrong bathroom. When a person's transitioning, odds are they want that taken seriously. They don't want it to become a joke or a fad. Not speaking for them, I'm just assuming that that's probably the case. They want it taken seriously. Otherwise, why would they be going through so much trouble for it? If a person were a feminist, odds are they don't want a pervert who has no intent on transitioning to be able to walk into their bathroom whenever they want, of course referring to a female restroom in that case. Then finally, as a MGTOW, I would say that I don't want the opportunity for someone to sue me for when I'm taking a shit looking at something they don't want to see. I have very little space to myself in this world. We don't have many places that we can go. And let's be honest, that is basically the last remaining throne of the man. It is our place to go and think and have a moment to breathe, even if the air is of low quality when we're in there. It's our last remaining space. We need to protect it. Because in the end, we're not going to have the same freedoms to go into their space and take back that lost ground. It's just not going to happen. That's not what this is all about. It's the slow and gradual breakdown of everything we have that's private to us. Just like all of the programs, the clubs, there's women's clubs everywhere, but there's no men's clubs. At least they're few and far between. Soon, there will be no men's bathrooms. And it's going to get worse. But that's my suggestion. Doctor's notes, all the way. If it's going to be real, then let's have them make it real. And that's going to protect everyone in the long run. If you have any other suggestions or you think there's a better way to do this, put them down below. I want to hear your thoughts. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. And if you want to hear more content like this, more serious subjects or even some lighter stuff,